Hi, welcome to this video on Microsoft Excel covering how to deal with lots of data on the same worksheet. So this video was recorded in February 2021 using Excel 365. On screen I've got an example Excel spreadsheet with a lot of data. There's a lot of columns and a lot of rows. So if I just tap down here, you've got 74 rows and we go across. We go into the AJ column here, so we've got over 30 columns. Some worksheets are much bigger than this. This is just an example. So by the default view, you can't see everything that is on your worksheet. If you wanted to try and see everything, well, at the bottom right, you've got this zoom scroll bar. So if I just I just clicked on the toolbar here to zoom down, see what percentage I'm looking at, and actually by chance that 42% took me to shows me exactly everything that's on my worksheet pretty perfectly. But now that I can see everything on my worksheet, I can't really see the text very easily. It's very, very small. So I'm going to click back in the middle and hopefully get back to 100% or 98%. You've got a plus and minus, so you can click the plus and it'll increment 10% or click minus to go zoom in or out. You've also, if I now go to this view tab here, we've got a few other options here as well. So you can click on zoom here and you've got options of changing the zoom using, or maybe putting a custom thing here and saying 75% using this box here, or like I showed you can click on the bottom right. Also, what you've got here is this zoom to selection. So if I were to select field J, now we'll go L23. If I click zoom to selection, it will zoom in to a very high magnification, 400%, on the cell that I've got highlighted. So L23, there it is. And if I want to go back, I can click on 100% and it will zoom me back out. As soon as so on the left hand side I've got a list of customers, and as soon as I start moving across, if I want to look at this cell here and I want to know what customer that refers to, well, I can't see it, so I've got to go, I've got to go all the way back to see that that's okay, it's ABC Limited. And the same goes for the headers as well. So I've got a lot of headers here, so if I want to go down to this row here, well, suddenly I've lost what header that column refers to. I don't know what that date is. So what you can do is you can freeze some of the columns and some of the rows. So we've got options here. So if I click on this drop down of freeze panes, I'm going to ignore the first one first of all. So the second option here is freeze the top rows. That will freeze if I choose freeze top row, it will keep the first row regardless of where I am. It will show the first row. So if I select that, freeze top row, and now when I start moving down here, you'll see that the first row is always visible at the top. And that's the same with the option of freeze the first column. In fact, freeze the first column is probably what I want here. So if I choose freeze first column and I start moving across here, lovely, it keeps my customer column visible and it only moves across the rest of the columns. So actually in this example I want to freeze the top two rows. So if I highlight the third row and I choose, first of all I've got to unfreeze because I do have the first row and first column frozen. If I now choose this and I choose freeze panes, it will freeze. I highlighted the third row, it will freeze the two rows above. So if I now move down, it's keeping the top two rows so I can see all of my headers, and it's just scrolling through the rest of the data. And if I just unfreeze that again, the other thing you can do is, instead of highlighting a row or highlighting a column, if I were to select B3 here and I choose freeze panes, what that will do is, from that position, the rows above and the columns to the left will be frozen. So if I click that, Now if I move down, yep, it's kept the 2 rows above, which is what I want. And if I go to the right, it's kept the row to the left, which is exactly what I want. So I'll just unfreeze that. The final thing I want to show you is the status bar. So at the bottom, in this bar here, the bottom left, it says ready, and then we've got this little button here, and then we go across here where the zoom control is. It's called the status bar. If I right click anywhere in that status bar, I will get given options of what I can show or not show. So by default, a number of these will be ticked. I'm not going to go through all of the options, but I'm just going to go through a couple. So right now it says caps lock, and to the right it says off. The point here is there's no tick next to caps lock. So when I put caps lock on, you can see that's changed to on. It doesn't change anything in the status bar. But if I tick that, now you get an indicator of whether the caps lock is on or not. So there on the bottom left you can see it's caps lock is on. If I press my caps lock to turn it off, it disappears because the caps lock isn't on anymore. Here it says it's off. It's still ticked here to say display if the caps is on. So if I press it again, yep, caps lock indicator comes on. If I untick this button, it disappears. All that tick means is, are we going to show it on the status bar or not? It doesn't mean anything to do with whether caps lock is on or not. It's just whether we're displaying it. And it only displays if it is on. So the fact that it's unticked, even though we've got caps lock on, it doesn't display it. But if I tick it, because caps lock is on, it shows you. I want to take my caps lock off. I'm also going to untick that because I don't need to see that. So you've got other things, number lock and scroll lock and that sort of thing going down here. But if we go a little bit further down, these bits here, if you highlight a number of number cells, if I highlight these 3, it now shows me in the status bar the average, the amount and the sum of the 3 values I have selected. And I've got other options here, so I can say the maximum and the minimum. So if I choose max, it now includes the max, which is the 6250. I won't take max. If I put min, it shows the min being 1875. And the last few things I want to go through are the bottom ones here. Excuse me. So you've got the zoom slider. So if you untick that, the zoom slider that we were looking at before disappears. Put that back on because I like that. We've got these shortcuts here, which is to do with changing the view. So if I highlight here, you've got normal, page layout and page break, different views, which are also in the toolbar here. You can choose to show or hide those. I don't really use those, so I'm going to get rid of that. And the last one is the zoom, and it's the percentage here that is showing the bottom right. So if you untick zoom, it will hide that. That's the end of this video. I hope you found it helpful.